What's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to do a little bit of detective work over here, and I'm going to compare the Morphe 35B palette to the new James Charles palette. So the James Charles palette launched today and I'm really excited because it's going to be a really good dupe for the 35B. So in this video I'm going to compare it, see if any colors are similar. So in this video I actually created this eye look, and on this side I use the 35B palette, and on this side I only use the James Charles palette. So if you guys are interested, then keep on watching because I'm just gonna get straight into it. And make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram at beautybydreav. Alright you guys, so these are the two palettes side by side. This one right here is the 35B palette, which is now discontinued, and this right here is the James Charles palette, which just launched today on November 13th. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how I create my eye look using these two palettes. And so as you can tell right now, side by side, the color side is definitely similar. There's even some shades that are almost identical. So I'm excited for you guys to see this tutorial because you guys will be able to see how it really looks like on the eyes. So let's just get straight into it. Okay, so I'm going to start by priming my lids with this Morphe eyeshadow primer onto my eyelids. Alright, so I've primed my lids, and when you first apply it, it's tacky and then it dries down very matte, as you can see on my eyelids. And in the James Charles palette, I'm going to use the color B, and I'm going to put that into the inner corner. Okay, so in the 35B palette, I'm using this yellow color right here. It's in the last row, right in the corner. Okay, so when I'm applying this eyeshadow, I'm just kind of pressing in and then blending afterwards. So just to mention this one more time, this is going to be the side that's going to be the James Charles palette, and then this side right here is going to be the 35B. So I'm going to go ahead and use kind of like this similar color in the 35B palette onto this eye now. So I'm picking up that yellow and I'm just going to apply it the same way I did onto this eye. Alright, so far I see absolutely no difference. I feel like they blended the same. I thought the 35B was a little bit more powdery at first, but it ended up blending exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys finger swatches of the two palettes. And so this finger right here is the James Charles palette, the yellow in it, called B. And this one right here is from the 35B palette. It has no name, so I'm just calling it bright yellow. So as you can see, it kind of looks like the James Charles one is a bit more bright, like a little bit of a lighter yellow than the one in the 35B palette. Okay, so since there's not really an orange that's very similar to 35B, I'm picking up this red color right here and I'm just going to mix it into the yellow that I have on my eyes already. And the red color in the James Charles palette is called You're Kidding. So I'm going to swatch it really quick. So this is a James Charles palette and this is the color You're Kidding, which is really beautiful bright red color. Okay, so now we're picking up the red in the 35B palette. There's no name on it, so this is what it is. Alright you guys, so I'm going to use this small taper blending brush in E45 from Sigma. This is the James Charles side and this is the 35B. So I'm going in first with You're Kidding into this eye. So I'm going to do exactly what I did with the yellow, basically pack on that color and then kind of blend it in after. So far so good. I mean, these colors are blending really nicely together. When I blend the yellow and the red, I'm getting this beautiful like orangey color. So alright, so I'm pretty happy with the James Charles side. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the red from the 35B palette. Okay, so I think the reds are really similar. The only thing I noticed was that in the James Charles side, I felt like when the red mixed with the yellow, I got like more of an orangey color. While on this side, I feel like when I try to mix it, the red just kind of overpowered, and I don't know, it didn't mix It definitely did not mix as well as the James Charles one, but the red is still pretty similar. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with the color Skip, and this is in the James Charles palette. It's like a very, very bright pink. And now I'm going to compare it to the 35B. Okay guys, so this is the pink in the 35B palette. It looks pretty similar to me. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. Okay, so this pink right here is the one in the James Charles palette. And this pink right here is the one in the 35B palette. Okay, so now I'm picking up this crease brush from e.l.f. and I'm going to apply that into the outer end right here. And I'm going in with Skip from the James Charles palette. Dang, look at that fallout. Now we're going to go into the 35B side. I'm going to use the same brush, just going to clean it off really quick. Alright, so far I feel like the colors are very similar. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the crease. I'm going to use concealer to cut the crease, and then I might go in with the Morphe primer. Girl, I don't know. Sometimes these tutorials have me questioning if I'm good at makeup or not. But yeah, so I'm just gonna keep going. I got a smaller brush to kind of make this a little bit easier on me. Alright, so this is basically what I want my cut crease to look like. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. I'm gonna go ahead and add the Morphe eyeshadow primer right on top. Okay, so now I'm grabbing the white in the James Charles palette, and this is Flashback. Okay, so now I'm grabbing the white in the 35B palette. I'm gonna do a quick little swatch. Alright, so this one right here is the James Charles one, and this one right here is the 35B one. Okay, so now I'm grabbing Flashback from the James Charles palette and just applying that right here in the inner corner. So what I'm going to do is get a Q-tip and just get rid of the makeup and then restart again and only use primer, not concealer, because like literally it just looks like it's cracking on my eyelids. So okay, so I used makeup remover and I just got rid of the concealer because when I went to apply the white on top, it was just cracking way too much. Like I think it was just like too much product on my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Morphe primer, just apply a little bit onto my eyes. I'm going to go ahead with the color Flashback from the James Charles palette onto this eye first, and then we're going to go into the white from the 35 palette onto this one. So I feel like the white is pigmented when you kind of build it up. I'm going to try to see what it looks like if I use my finger. Okay, it's definitely more pigmented when you use your finger. So now I'm going to use the white from the 35B palette onto this eye. I actually think that I'm liking the white from the 35B palette a little bit more. It's just coming off a little bit more pigmented the first time that I try it. When you layer up the one in the James Charles one, you can get a similar effect. You just gotta kind of keep dipping your brush into the palette, and that's all. Alright, so now I'm grabbing this blue right here. This is called Playground, and this is from the James Charles palette. So I'm going to swatch really quick the blue right here from the 35B palette, and I will show you guys that they are very similar, the one in the James Charles palette and the one in the 35B. Alright, so this one right here on my middle finger is the one from the 35B, and this one right here from And this one right here is the James Charles palette. So as you can see, they are so similar. Like, they're basically almost identical, I feel like. So this is the James Charles one, and this is the 35B one. You can see this one's like a little bit more pigmented. Alright, so now I'm grabbing Playground from the James Charles palette, and I'm just adding that right here. So I'm just stamping that in right here and kind of bringing it outwards. I think I'm going to add a little bit of glitter in this little section right here, so I'm not going to touch too much of that. So now I'm going to pick up the blue from the 35B palette and, you know, Right, so it looks like the blue in the James Charles palette is definitely more pigmented, a little bit more brighter. So this is the purple in the James Charles palette. This is called Escape, and there's not another purple in the 35B that's identical, but I found one that's similar, so I will compare swatches in a second. So right here is the one in the 35B, and this is in the James Charles palette. Alright guys, so I'm picking up the color Escape from the James Charles palette, and I'm going to use kind of like a tapered brush like this because I'm just going to go in the outer end. Alright, picking up that blue one more time, we're just going to add that in. So now I'm going to go ahead and add that purple onto this eye from the 35B palette. Alright, don't worry guys, I'm going to definitely clean that up. I just feel like that looks nutty. So definitely the James Charles purple was more pigmented, but the 35B one is definitely buildable. Like, you can get a lot of pigment with it. You just gotta dip into your palette a little bit more for that specific purple. Alright, so now I'm grabbing this glitter metallic eyeshadow from Morphe, and I'm just gonna grab a very small eyeliner brush and just apply that right here. I want to add a little bit of green shadow underneath here. So right here in the James Charles palette, we have the color Social Blade, which is kind of like a very bright green. So this is the closest green I could find in 35B. I'm going to swatch it really quick and look at the comparison. So this is the one in the 35B, and this is the one in the James Charles palette. So using a pencil brush from Sigma, I'm just adding Social Blade right underneath here. Applying the green onto this eye from the 35B palette. Okay, so now I am picking up the color Daddy, and I'm just going to do a quick swatch of that. Okay, so this color right here is like the closest green that I could find to Daddy. So I'm going to swatch it and then show you guys comparisons real quick. So this is what the 35B looks like, and this is what Daddy looks like in the James Charles palette. So it's kind of similar, not the same, but kind of similar. Okay, now going in with Daddy, we're going to apply that to the lower lash line towards the middle to end. Alright, so once you apply the green from the Morphe palette, it's very similar to Daddy. So this is the final look for the 35B palette. And this is the close-up for the James Charles palette. Alright you guys, so I just got finished testing the Morphe 35B palette versus the new James Charles palette, and I want to give you guys my final verdict. So basically, if you guys didn't know this already, the Morphe 35B is discontinued, and I did get this only a couple months ago, but that was because they had it online on beautybydreav.com. So you still could get it in some places, like they're in some Morphe stores, or you could get it on some websites, but it is definitely discontinued. So the purpose of this video is just to see if you already have the 35B palette and if it's worth it getting the new James Charles palette. So now that I'm done creating this look, comparing the colors, I thought so many colors were so similar, almost identical, that you don't really need to get the new James Charles palette if you already have the 35B palette. But if you're interested in getting a palette that has neutrals and colors, then definitely get the James Charles palette. However, some colors in the James Charles palette blended better than the colors in the Morphe 35B, whereas the white in the 35B was a little bit more pigmented than the James Charles one. So if you see here in the James Charles palette, here you have a ton of color to work with. Here you have a lot of shades that you'll never run out of. Like, I use a lot of black and I use a lot of white as well in my makeup looks, and you're never gonna run out of these with this huge pan. So that's a huge plus. So if you're looking for a palette that basically has everything you need, this is the palette to go. So yeah, if you already have the 35B, I really don't think you need the James Charles palette, because even in the 35B, you even have more bright colors. If you are thinking about getting the James Charles palette because you really like the colors, I can't speak for the neutrals yet until I post a tutorial on it, but if you are thinking about getting it because you like the colors in it, definitely go and get it, because I thought the colors are bomb and it was super easy to blend, super easy to create a really colorful, creative eye look. So alright you guys, so if you enjoy this type of video, make sure to subscribe, leave me a comment, say hello, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.